This is Wicked Signal with another video, this one on CrowdStrike Holdings, symbol CRWD. I'm going to jump into this chart in a moment, and in this video I'm going to actually show you a couple of things. One is that it hasn't happened yet, and so I'm ahead of the game, if you will. I'm showing it before the fact if it were to occur. What could be a 1 to 3 month buy signal in this stock if we close any week above 156.81, which is rising every week. I'll give you those numbers as I usually do, spread 4 weeks apart, takes you into late December. Right now, this week, it's at 156.81. Last trade on this is 153.28. So it is in the midst of testing what I'm going to call a midterm ceiling at 156.81. So if we can get up and over it and close above 156.81, this market can run about 20% or so, 25% over the next month, 2 or 3. Until then, and this is the second part, holding below that, just call it the mid to upper 150s, 156.81, this stock CRWD remains susceptible to falling back over the next month or two into the upper 110s, low 120s, 119.12 now. All these numbers are changing ever so gradually, but this is the point I'm making with this stock, and I'll show you in just a moment. But first, let me just remind you, as I always do, if you haven't been there yet, wickedsignal.com. Go to the website, click on that free subscription button, fill out your first, last name, and email address, and you will receive, or any of your investor or trading friends that you'll tell about Wicked Signal will receive a email notification every time a new video comes out. Would love for you to spread the word. Would love to expand the database of users, this free video vlog service on stock recommendations. I don't inundate your inbox with sales pitches, and I don't share your information with anyone outside the organization, so there's that. But let's jump into this particular stock, CrowdStrike, holding symbol CRWD. If you don't know anything about this stock, and I didn't know a whole lot about it until I read up on it just a couple of days ago, it's a cloud-based security stock or platform. It's what you might call the Norton security or the McAfee for the cloud era. It provides endpoint security for PCs and other devices. Its platform, or the Falcon platform, includes 11 different modules for maintaining security against the most sophisticated attacks from state-based actors. And that's all I'm going to say about this stock. I'm not a fundamental analyst. I am a technical analyst. So I'm going to take a look at where I see this market. Now, obviously, it's been on a nice run. Let's take a look at actually the extremes. I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but just want to show you a little bit of history, of this stock and how over, the last, it came out in initial public offering, I think it was in June of 19. That year it had a high of 101.88. It fell back in March of 20 to 31.95. And since the March low, it's been in a nice up move. Although the last, few months, since the August or September high has been really kind of in a two-sided framework with some meaningful rotations inside that. And, one of the things I look at is how to construct the channel formation. So if you look at this high that was placed in the last week of August, August 31st, 153.10. The question I always have is the low of that high, because that's a meaningful point in which you can actually construct the channel formation. You actually have to construct, in my opinion, the channel off that high. But where do you grab the low? Is it the following week, or is it that week? In other words, was the high placed before the low, or was that low placed Monday of that week and then we placed the high? Or was the high placed earlier in the week and then we placed the low later in the week? Because if we place the low after the high, then we're going to use that low as our channel bottom. It's much easier to talk about this and to show you if we jump to the daily chart. And here you can actually see that the high was placed first earlier in the week. I think it was on a Tuesday, and we fell back on Friday to that low. So it becomes pretty crystal clear for me that if we're going to construct the channel top, it will be off of the low of that week. And so, you can see, you can actually, this is the channel I'm talking about on the daily chart, but we're going to be constructing it on the weekly chart. So it's easy to follow on a longer term basis well into December. And let's jump to the weekly chart. And you can see I'm actually using the low of that weekly high, which is proper technique, and using against that intermediate low, or that, not the intermediate low, but the low from November, which was a early November low, against this high here from August. And, you can see that it comes in at the very extreme channel top for the week of Monday, November 30th, which is the week that I'm talking about. In fact, I actually recorded this, by the way, Monday, November 30th, after the markets closed. It settled today at 153.28, or it settled Monday, November 30th at 153.28. So we are below these formations. 156.81 this week, rises to 157.95 the week of Monday, December 28th. A full 4 weeks later, you can subtract these numbers out, divide by 4, and you will have the location of this channel top each and every week in between. And the bottom line here is we want to see a clear settlement above this formation as a go with buy signal that would then, I would expect, to play out well into December and into January perhaps. So the settlement is needed above it. You could do it on a daily basis. You're jumping the gun just a little bit, but I don't have a problem with that. You just want to see the market close the week then, Friday, above 156.81, the week I'm putting this video out, or any of those weeks out to December 28th, 157.95. You want to see a settlement above. Testing this area, this is a ceiling of resistance, and holding below this area does allow the market to fall back, over the next, I'm going to say 5 to 8 weeks. Possibly sooner, back into the 118.54 region to 119.12 region. This is the channel bottom against those tops. And you can have these price points here. Monday, November 30th, 118.54. A full month later, 119.12 the week of Monday, December 28th. Subtract them out, divide by 4. You have the exact number each and every time. But the bottom line here is, holding below that 156.81 formation this week, November 30th, does allow, I don't have a clear sell signal, but if you're trading rotational sequences, if you're trading cycles, if you will, this market is now testing meaningful resistance in the mid 150s. And as long as this market fails to close above this formation, it is highly susceptible to falling back into the upper 110s over the next 3 to 5 to 8 weeks or so. And that is an area that you can actually buy into if tested. On the other hand, and there's every reason to believe we may get the buy signal above the 156.81 formation, which once again is rising ever so gradually to 157 that last week of December. If we get the settlement above it, we've got a nice buy signal. It could be as quickly as 3 to 5 weeks, or it could take a couple of months, 2 to 3 months. But the formation that I would have as an objective is this week at 186.04, and in late December is at 196.18. This is at least a 20% move. It depends on how long it takes to reach that channel top, but that would be the objective. So if we close at the end of this week, November 30th, above 156.81. I like to use 1% violation thresholds, by the way. I should have mentioned that, but, and I'll actually put that on the video itself. It'll be about 1.56 higher than 156.81, and that'll take us into the 158 and change area, 158.40, something like that. But you'll see it by the time I do the post editing on this video. Closing above that 156.81 formation by at least a 1% margin does indicate the 186.04 formation within 3 to 5 weeks, 2 to 3 months, somewhere in that range. And, as we continue into January, it pushes into the low $200 area. And so this is a nice move. It could be as much as 25% if the channel top at 186.04 is not tested until later January, when it'll be in the 210s and 220s. So I think I'm just going to keep it simple here. Holding below this 156.81 formation, as I showed you earlier, allows the market to fall back into the upper 110s over the next month or two, while inversely, closing the week Friday of November 30th above 156.81, changing ever so gradually into later December, closing above that formation by at least a 1% margin. I like the 1% for technical clarity, does signal bullish continuation into later December and even into January, then anticipating the 186.04, which rises to 196.18 the last week of December, so forth and so on. I think that's really all that needs to be said for this particular wicked signal video on CrowdStrike Holdings.